bonus question, as I'm checking your levels and popping the colors here, will you be so kind, say and spell your full name and full official title, and just look at me. I'm just going to crouch over here.
Titles, what are we doing?
We don't have titles.
Volunteer, I would guess.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay, so my name is Marie Cook, Marie Koch. I'm a volunteer with the Kids Connection portion of the Jail Library program.
And how long have you been in this role?
About 20 years. I was just looking through the book and I think that I can see my handwriting back in 2000.
Well, congratulations on that. I mean, that's a milestone. And I don't think you would do it. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I really don't think you do this unless you loved it. So talk to me a little bit about why you love it.
Okay, I really like this program because I think that promoting reading is important. I'm a voracious reader, and it does that by sending the kids books. I think keeping kids in contact with their parents is important, and it does that by sending the recording of the parent reading the book. And I know that for some of these kids, this may be the only positive contact they have with that parent. That may not be a custodial parent. It may be a repeat offender. I'd love to think that everybody who comes in here says, oh my gosh, I screwed my life up, I'm never doing this again, and they go out and they find some job and work their way up. That's not life. So I know for some of these kids, a couple of books that they get sent while their parents are in here may be the only good contact they have with that parent.
So in many ways, this provides a humanistic approach. I mean, this provides you the ability to help these kids grow up when their parents are absent.
It does. It does, very much so. And the inmates are allowed to speak freely on the recordings, and they are allowed to write in the front of the book so that they can send notes to their kids. And one of the first things that we were told in training is everybody who's in here is innocent, they'll tell you so. I have had definitely people who told me they were not innocent. I had one parent, it's a person of color, who spoke very heart to heart with his daughter about the fact that he could have turned his back and walked away when he was insulted, and he didn't do it. And he did serious damage to somebody, and that he thought she was living in a better environment, but that even if things were happening around her, she needed to understand that she should turn and walk away and worry about who her friends were, not who was insulting her.
Wow. I mean, you hear life lessons how do you cope? I mean, because there's a lot that you're hearing in these walls. That's got to be hard.
It is, but for me, it's encouraging that these people are interested enough to want to do this, and a lot of them will talk it up for us. So we'll get some guy that, didn't know about the program, and he comes in here and he does this and he thinks it's great, and he goes back to his pod, and 2 weeks later we've got 5 applications from that pod because he's been talking it up to the other inmates and saying, hey, I did this thing, I sent my kid a book, I got to record, I got to write a note saying Daddy loves you, I got to put stickers on a case and make it pretty, and that resonates with people in here. That they can do something good.
They're doing something good, and they're not feeling absent. They're feeling like they're actually, because they normally they don't get to see their kids maybe once in a blue moon. So this is a way that Kids Connection lets them connect, right? I mean,
right.
Essentially that's what this is all about. I mean, the mission has stayed the same for the last 2 decades. It sounds like
yes.
It used to be tapes. Now it's DVDs. Might soon be going digital.
CD.
I'm sorry, CDs. Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I said DVD. But it's always been to hear that voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why does that resonate, do you think, having that voice?
I just think that it gives kids a type of connection that nothing else can. You know that you have a parent, but they're not around, and you maybe don't even understand why. And when you hear their voice and you can hear them say, I love you, and they can say, I think you're going to like this book, or this is a book I liked when I was a kid, and that kind of a that kind of a connection just really, I think, resonates with people.
Sometimes you get special requests, just like the one today, right? I mean, that people that are here would like to honor a birthday or a special occasion. Talk to me about some of those throughout the years. There are some pretty special moments here.
There are some very special moments here. When they request for a particular thing, like a child's birthday, we try to make sure that we get them cleared and get them recorded in time for the book to get there for the correct date. We do have some birthday cards. They're not necessarily the best kids cards because we don't really have a big budget for that, but we have birthday cards and we have blank cards. And so when they mention a birthday, we allow them to include a card if they want to. And one of my big learning lessons in my earlier years is I had an inmate and he said, I'm not a very good reader, so I'm not going to read the first chapter of the book. It's an older child. He was sending Princess Diaries. And the flyleaf on it was purple. And he was going to write in the book. And so I looked at our gel pens and I said, well, the silver would probably show up pretty good on that. Thinking he's going to write a note and he's going to record some message and, you know, and he's going to send the book. And I was sitting directly behind him. And he was picking up pens and putting down pens and picking up pens and putting down pens. And I'm thinking, how many colors do you need to write Happy Birthday, Love, Daddy? And this is taking a while, and I'm thinking, I could have somebody who actually wants to record in here. And when he was done, he had drawn a birthday cake with candles. He had drawn a banner that said Happy Birthday. He had drawn confetti. He had turned those 2 pages into a complete work of art. And that just kind of humbled me right there to not judge the people that I'm working with. Because normally, you know, I don't worry about why they're in here. They've been cleared, safe for me to be with them, and that's all I care about. And, you know, do something for the kids. But in this case, I was thinking, okay, this time I've really got somebody who just wanted to get out of the pod, and he's just killing time in here. And that wasn't the case at all. So
it does. It humbles. It humanizes you, and I would imagine, you know, you do this for what, 3 hours a week? I would say, is it about
2.5,
Yeah.
probably
Well,
with the inmates. But yeah, 3 hours by the time I drop the stuff off. And yeah.
I was going to say, so ultimately, when you're doing all of this, you know, you recognize that this is a much bigger message. I mean, you're able to give of your heart. You're paying it forward, and they're paying it forward. Everyone's doing something good at the end of the day.
Exactly.
That's I think the heart and soul to our story. So yeah, anything I forgot to ask you that you think would be important to share, just about how you know, I mean, how we fund this through UW, right, and through
the UW. Well, it's the I School now. It used to be the School of Library and Information Sciences. Now it's just Information School. It's their student group that kind of is our parent group, but their faculty advisor is retiring this year. So Mary, who is the outreach librarian for Dane County, is taking over running this group, and then we'll be contacting them for things where there's need for them to provide funding or materials. But Mary has also been very involved with this in that she helps them with the grant writing, which is how we manage to have new books for this program, because the inmate rotation library program depends heavily on donated books, some new, many used, and this program runs on new books.
right, because you can write in them. Which is
Yes. They don't have anybody else's name in them,
So-
and they don't have beat-up covers.
And there are favorites. I didn't realize.
Oh, I'm going to get you to talk about that in just a second. So hold that thought for sure. But yeah, that's the best part about that. And so if people are watching this story and they would like to donate, I'm sure Laura, you can help me with this part. Would they then reach out to Kids Connection to do that, or how would that work?
Normally, I would be able to give you a name at
But they're
iSchool.
retired,
It's
yeah.
it's the University of Wisconsin iSchool, and it's the
I've got
jail
that.
library group.
Okay.
And,
Very good.
yeah.
I just wanted to make sure we had that. But yes, anything else I forgot to ask that I should be asking you before I turn the mic over?
I guess how the inmates qualify for the program?
Yeah, I don't know. Go for it.
Okay, so we used to do this on paper, which meant that they'd turn in an application to us. We'd have to write the information down, email it to Lynn, our social worker, who would then email us back and tell us that people were all right to be in the program, or very rarely that they had not been behaving well in here, or they were accused of something that made her leery to have them be alone with us in a room, and she would say, no, they can't do this right now, this is why. And so then we would have to do a note that we would hand off to the deputy that says, I'm sorry, you can't participate in Kids Connection program due to current and past charges, or due to your behavior in the institution. Now they have just started doing a program where they have pads, and they fill out the application and it goes directly to Lynn. And Lynn is able to process them, and then she responds back to the inmate. And when she responds back and closes that application, then she sends us a copy of the application.
Okay, that makes sense. This is fascinating. I'm learning so much, so this is great. Thank you so, so much for the insights. Perfect, okay. Hardest question, I promise. Just as before, say and spell your full name and official volunteer title, if you don't mind.
Sure. Michael Merline, last name Merline, and I'm a Kids Connection volunteer.
Perfect, and how long have you been doing this now?
I want to say 4 or 5 years, maybe 3 years, somewhere in there. It's far less time than the rest of the volunteers.
Volunteering your Saturdays, why do you do it?
You know, when I first started, I just thought the program sounded really meaningful. I have some friends who are part of the library system, and they recommended it. And then once you start working with our participants, you realize that it's hugely emotional for a lot of the people we work with. You know, there's the individual that spends 20 minutes writing in their book, and then they turn around and you see them wiping their face. And, you know, and you realize that this is a small part of their day, but it's their connection to their kid, and it's hugely meaningful for them. And of course, that's meaningful for us too, as volunteers.
Absolutely, and you mentioned that there are some favorites of these books that they pick and everything. Talk to me a little bit about how that works.
Yeah, you know, there's the Hop on Pop and the Cat in the Hat. That whole series of books is hugely popular. The Curious George books tend to go really fast, and so you start to recognize the patterns. The Goodnight Moon hasn't been as big of a selection as I would have expected, even though that's a book that I remember being huge when I was a kid, right? And so you have your own personal recommendations when people ask, but then you also start to learn the books that everyone seems to select, that they gravitate towards. And that's been fun as someone who hasn't been around kids' books in a long time, you know, so, but then you also people are reading and you remember those moments with your own parents years ago. And I don't know, that makes me laugh sometimes, it makes me a little sad sometimes, it does all those things. It makes you wistful. And so the favorites are part of what makes this fun.
I know they are, and you were talking about, I mean, the opportunities here are, I mean, this is remarkable. I mean, honestly, without a program like this, I don't know, forgive my ignorance, Laura, you may be able to speak to this too, I don't know if someone would be an inmate in another part of the state or in part of the country, they would have an opportunity like this. And I probably should have asked you this question, and now I'm thinking about it, but that happens. But you know, I mean, it's something that happens right here, and this is pretty special for these inmates because they couldn't do this elsewhere.
Yeah, they're often not near their children, so you know, I don't know the geographic area of our inmates, but it's significant, and it does reduce that distance a little bit. We see a lot of individuals come back, so they clearly felt that it was of value, and sometimes you've worked with a participant more than once to know that they're having a conversation with their child over the weeks, and that's nice to see.
Absolutely, because during that time they can record and they can go off track with that book. They can talk about other things, so it's a pretty special little time, and you don't carve out like oh, you can only stay for 10 minutes on this. That you let
Right.
them have that ability. So.
Well, on paper, our process is the participant comes in, selects a book for their kid, and then sits down and starts reading. But in reality, they start by getting set up. Maybe they read the book for a little bit because they're embarrassed if they run into a mistake and have to start over, because we're dealing with real people, right? And you would do the same. They read the book, and then they spend another maybe 5 minutes just speaking to their child before and after. Maybe they're just saying good night. Maybe they're saying good morning. Maybe they're passing on some advice. They're telling the child to take care of their mom. You hear this sort of thing all the time. And then the time that's spent just writing in the book or selecting stickers, you can tell they care about the little details in a way that you didn't realize. When you first start this, you don't realize those small things matter so much. And they do, right? They can spend a little bit of extra time, and maybe that one sticker really matters to them and the child, even if, to me, I would never have thought it mattered. So.
Absolutely, that's what's best about it. And now you guys do spend a healthy amount of time though also editing these, right? You guys have to edit them down, or?
That might be in addition to our program in the future,
Okay.
but right now the technology constraints make it so that I actually recommend that inmates read their book a little bit out loud just to get comfortable with the practice, and then start, because often it's actually challenging to do the type of editing you're describing. Sometimes our best option is just to start over with the recording. So the short book, that's fine, but you don't want to do that halfway through a 40-page kids book. So
I know in the future you'd like to see this program have those options, and as this continues to grow, what would you like to see, 5-10 years down the line for this?
Yeah.
Probably keep the same heart, I would imagine.
I have noticed that a number of our participants get really embarrassed with the small mistakes, and you could argue that that's really humanizing. I think it is, I think it's powerful for kids to hear their parents acting natural, right? Because that's what you would do. If you ran into a mistake while you were reading a book at night, you wouldn't start over. You would just carry on. Maybe you'd laugh. Maybe you'd say something funny to your child. But when they're recording, a lot of people aren't comfortable in front of the camera or in front of the microphone or whatever it is, and so they would really prefer to be able to just snip that out. And so I think that would be a nice option in the future. I'm not sure if it's realistic based on how our system has to work, but that's something we might change in the future.
Altogether, I know you guys do this. How many are part of this collaboration that comes Saturday after Saturday?
I believe we currently have 3 volunteers. 4. Okay. Oh, right. So she also.
Are you looking for more? Would you like to have more volunteers? Would it feel like you're at a good level? You've got a lot of training to do too.
I believe in the past we've worked with a circuit of 4 or 5.
6,
Okay.
but 4 is our minimum.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
Cool. I think anything I forgot to ask that you think would be important to share that I should be bothering you about?
I have realized over the years that the reasons people can end up here are varied, and it's significant that they have that chance to spend time with the microphone, and maybe it's a way to engage with their children. Maybe it's a way for them to feel more comfortable with the time here. I remember I happened to have a Mother's Day shift one year, and I worked with an inmate whose her children had recently, her daughter had recently passed, and so she was now the legal guardian of the children as a grandmother. And on Mother's Day, that recording meant something to her, and it was hard for me too. And that was one of those reminders where you don't know their story, and you're not going to find out their story. All you can do is just try to make this process be meaningful for them. And yeah, that was emotional for me, and I think it really. After that, I really felt a connection to this program. I knew it mattered, but that's when I didn't understand what it meant for some individuals until that moment. The other time that comes to mind is the inmate. It was another one of those stories where we're sitting behind so that we're out of the way, we're not making noise. Maybe you're reading a book, doing a crossword puzzle, whatever, and he was taking a long time to write in his book, and I didn't know what was going on, because it actually got a little unusual. It's 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and he's scratching away, selecting pens, selecting stickers, and when he turns around, and he had been sobbing, And later when I took the book, I realized he had written a really long letter in that book. And a lot of our participants take this opportunity to speak to their child. And I hope we can always present that opportunity for people.
Absolutely. You might never know that person's story themselves, but you're doing something bigger with this bigger story. I mean, you really are. That's, I think, the all-encompassing message for all of it, yeah, which is fabulous. I probably have plenty, guys, so
Great.
let's...
All the rules and no staples and, the bindings can't be stapled. And
Oh, so there are physical constraints for the books?
yes.
I didn't think
They
about
can't be
that.
hard covered, well, they're not supposed to be hard covered, and then no stapled bindings. So we had to get rid of about 20 magazines a year ago
It's
because
plenty.
some of the magazines
To
most
give-
magazines actually are stapled, they're not a glued binding.
To
And
give
so we had
the-
to get rid of a lot of the stapled
There we go,
magazines
that's how we're
because
gonna do
the
that.
inmates hurt themselves with the staple.
I never considered that there were constraints there, but that makes sense.
Yeah, and the library side knows all the
3,
rules
2,
on it.
and 1.
that's a part of
To
the
give
study.
the inmates plenty of choices, the kids, oh man,
Oh.
state back up. I almost got it that time. I was trying to do a two-parter. Hard part of being your own camera woman
Yeah,
and
you
doing
want
it
me to
all.
hold anything?
I think
Oh,
I may see if my photographer could hold this camera or watch it for me since I won't dip. So come over on this side. So that my goal is, I'll show you what I'm doing so you won't think I am sort of crazy. But my
You do a
thought,
lot of stuff yourself
yep,
here,
yep,
so-
yep. You know that's how we
So
roll.
framing on the
So
left.
framing on that. So my goal is to go from a shot like of this. So I'm pulling the books out to on camera. So a two-parter is my thought. I thought that'd be kind
It
of.
looks like the camera's not sliding on its axis here. So
Oh, good. So it might actually be
you
stable.
didn't see
Not
anything.
moving at the moment.
Hot dog. All right, we're going to leave you there.
You got about 30 seconds before it goes.
Okay, coming down 3, 2, and 1. To give these inmates plenty of reading choices, those here, I messed that up. Sorry, guys. 3, 2, and 1. To give these inmates plenty of choices, they have books in English, Spanish, and Hmong. Hi, Charles. So sorry. We're doing a quick little story about all of this that's super awesome today for Spectrum News and just sharing this. So
She's somewhere around there though, because she is huge and she's long too.
And she sounds like she's just beautiful. So you,
Oh my God.
I know you're missing her. Talk to me a little bit about how this helps you to get to connect with her a little bit.
Well, mostly for me because I know when my son was in the womb, also when she was in the womb, I talk to them. You know what I'm saying? I read to them, sing to them, count with them, ABCs, everything. So for them to be able to hear my voice constantly like this, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's a godsend, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and now like even when she comes up on a visit, you know what I'm saying? She's not able to like, you know what I'm saying, see very far but like when she hears me, she'll be like well aware of my voice and then she'll start looking for me and then she'll like look up and see me. I like have to bring my hand down so it comes like past my face and she'll see my face, she'll start smiling. I'll be like, yeah, that's my baby.
I'm so glad you said that. And you just reminded me, there was some study that I heard a long time ago that said that, a child never forgets their parent's voice.
No.
They hear it and they know that. And I mean, this is primal almost to have that.
Yeah, and it's like, that's one of the main reasons that, like when they're in the womb, that's one of the main reasons that I make sure that I talk to them constantly, I sing to them constantly, this is Dada, you know, I'll rub them and, you know what I'm saying, lay my head and take a nap with them and everything, you know what I'm saying? Like, my son even does that now, like, when she was in the womb, my son would lay his head there and be like, hey Zoe, talk to his sister and everything. I'm just like, yeah.
It's pretty special. So talk to me a little bit about why this book today.
Well, so I just like to give them different books with like a lot of different things that they can use, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, they're gonna read along with it, but like this book has also counting in it too. And I know my son's getting to the counting age where he's gonna start using his fingers. So, you know what I'm saying? I just like to get him a little bit of education, a little bit of fun too. You know what I'm saying? You know?
Absolutely. And you've got how many kids?
I've got 2 kids. My 3rd one, he didn't make it, but it's okay because I'm pretty sure he's helping his sister and his brother.
I know he is.
You know,
He's watching
but
them,
I don't know. Just like I said, like I love to still be able to read to my kids and teach them, even if I'm not physically there. So it works, you know.
Absolutely. That's the soundbite right there, and that's what this is all about, giving you that life. If you didn't have this, how hard would it be to be a dad?
I don't know. It would be a lot more complicated, but I'm pretty sure I would try to find a way to make it work. You know what I'm saying? I like to be involved in my children's lives. So like I would try to find a way to make it work, but this right here is just like, it helps so much. It's like, it puts that icing on the cake. It just like makes it that much easier. So, you know, it works.
I have plenty. You are a saint. Thank you for doing this. Oh my gosh. I bet that would be fantastic.
It's crazy. I almost chose the picture book too.
And you could have. That would have been a good one too, but this is great. And action whenever you like.
Oh, we've got these horns on our heads, and we've got 2 ears, so you can hear what we said.
That's perfect. Let me get you to do it one more time. I'm going to grab some really great tight close-ups. And go for it.
Oh, we've got these horns right on top of our head, and we've got 2 ears, so we can hear what you said.
Yep, you're a natural. I feel like, yeah, you totally have to go into what I do. And you know what? Since I'm making you do things a lot, go ahead and read it one more time.
Okay. Oh, we've got these horns right on top of our head, and we've got 2 ears, so we can hear what you said.
Fantastic. Oh, all right. I'm going to let you go ahead and read it in this time, and then whatever else you want to say in there, I'm not going to bother
Okay,
you.
so I'll set up with the recorder. You can get squared around.
Okay.
Where you want to sit to the recorder.
I think
All
I
right.
said we just.
And you should be ready. Push the record key, and I'm just going to kind of hang over your shoulder while you do the first one. Make sure that we're
I'm going
getting
to get a tight
bars.
shot as you're hitting
Okay,
it.
1 second. It's not recording.
Nope, I'm not seeing bars. Okay, let me try this. So I want you to go ahead and start with, you know, like this is Daddy or something like that to see if we're.
Hey, babies. It's Dada again.
Okay, I'm not seeing it. Okay, I'm gonna stop it, and it's saying blank disk, so it is not recording. Something is not set up right. So.
Technical difficulty. Actually, that's good for me. More video for me, so I'm grateful. Good. Keep it going.
So
Have a couple technical difficulties for
Excuse me.
squeeze through here. Speaker switch top right-hand corner is switched off. Yes, we know that. Phone selector is on. Mic line, yes. Power button on the back is on, obviously. It's got a CD in it because it says blank disc. I'm gonna pop the CD and put it back in. Splashing reading, okay. And then the words blank disc appear.
This might need to be set to on.
Well, that's where we had it before. We had it both on and off. That was what I thought. Okay, now a blank disc, and then we want the record mode button,
And then the big disc.
and then that one, right? Record error. Okay.
Let's turn the whole machine off and start over.
You know,
It's
that's
very-
Control-Delete, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's very possible that
The
it's
whole
just
reboot is usually the ticket.
Yep.
Of course, this is the
I
one
probably
time
should have.
Hey, this is fabulous. So just saying, like, you
Yeah.
guys keep.
I'm gonna thinking that I want to get that.
Usually doesn't require this many people to.
No,
It's all
usually
right.
it just
Favor,
works.
Michael, will you take a look, or Lori, see if it says recording or paused right now? I'm just curious. I think I might have
It's saying record.
hit the red button on the side just to turn that off. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I bet That would be fantastic.
It's crazy. I almost chose the picture book too.
And you could have. That would have been a good one too, but this is great. And action whenever you like.
Oh, we've got these horns on our heads, and we've got 2 ears, so you can hear what we said.
That's perfect. Let me get you to do it one more time. I'm going to grab some really great tight close-ups and go for it.
Oh, we've got these horns right on top of our head, and we've got 2 ears, so we can hear what you said.
Yep, you're a natural. I feel like, yeah, you totally have to go into what I do. And you know what? Since I'm making you do things a lot, go ahead and read it one more time.
Okay. Oh, we've got these horns right on top of our head, and we've got 2 ears, so we can hear what you said.
Fantastic. Oh, all right. I'm going to let you go ahead and read it in this time, and then whatever else you want to say in there, I'm not going to bother
Okay,
you.
so
Okay.
all set up with the recorder. You can get squared around
Okay.
to where you want to sit to the recorder.
I think I
All
got
right.
it set. We just
And you should be ready. Push the record key, and I'm just going to kind of hang over your shoulder while you do the first one. Make sure that we're
I'm going
getting
to get a tight
bars.
shot as you're hitting
Okay.
it.
1 second. It's not recording.
Nope, I'm not seeing bars. Okay, let me try this. So I want you to go ahead and start with, like this is Daddy or something like that to see if we're.
Hey, babies. It's Dada again.
Okay, I'm not seeing it. Okay, I'm gonna stop it, and it's saying blank disk, so it is not recording. Something is not set up right. So.
Technical difficulty. Actually, that's good for me. More video for me, so I'm grateful. Good. Keep it
Okay.
going.
So
Have a couple technical difficulties for
Excuse me.
squeeze through here. Speaker switch top right-hand corner is switched off. Yes, we know that. Phone selector is on. Mic line, yes. Power button on the back is on, obviously. It's got a CD in it because it says blank disc. No, I'm gonna pop the CD and put it back in. Splashing reading, okay. And then the words blank disc appear.
this might need to be set to on.
Well, that's where we had it before. I've had it both on and off. That was what I thought. Okay, now on blank disc, and then we want the record mode button,
And then the big disc.
and then that one, right? Record error. Okay.
Let's turn the whole machine off and start over.
You know,
It's
that's
very-
Control-Delete, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's very possible that
The
it's
whole
just,
reboot is usually the ticket.
Yep.
Of course, this is the
I
one
probably
time
should have.
Hey, this is fabulous. So just saying, like, you
Yeah.
guys keep.
Thinking that I want to get that.
Usually doesn't require this many people to.
No, usually it just
Favor,
works.
but will you take a look, or Lori, see if it says recording or pause right now? I'm just curious. I think I might have
It's saying record.
hit the red button on the side just to
On the
turn
right
that off. Yeah.
Hey, Zori. Hey, Zinni. It's Dada again. How y'all doing, babies? All right, Dada gonna read y'all another book, okay? Y'all ready? Now, again, y'all gotta make sure that mommy is following along on the pages. Zinni, you can help too, buddy. And make sure you let your sister see, okay? Now, the book I'm about to read is called Horns to Toes and In Between. It's by Sonia Boynton. It says, oh, we've got these horns right on top of our heads. And we've got 2 ears, so we can hear what you said. If you look, they got the yellow horns, then one's got pink ears, one's got green ears, and one's got blue ears. And we've all got a mouth, so we can eat, sing, or talk. And we've all got 2 feet, so we can go for a walk. I heard you like going for a walk like that, Zinzin. You gonna take your sister with you? She might want to go for a walk too. Yes, we've each got 10 toes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You count your toes with them? And we've each got one nose. And I know you know where your nose is at. You gonna show Zori where her nose at? We've all got 2 eyes that can open and close. And we have a fuzzy tummy that we all like to pat. And a little baby belly button in the middle of that. Well, we've each got a back and a tail that is long. And 2 very fine arms. And 2 legs that are strong. Your sister's legs are getting strong. I see she's been standing up a lot lately. We've got 2 hands and fingers. Count 10. We can tickle, 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 or just count them again. You can count your fingers like your toes. They're numbered this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job, buddy. You see our teeth when we grin. You see our tongues when it's hot. You can watch us shake and shimmy with whatever we've got. The end. I hope y'all liked y'all book, buddy. I love you, and Dada read to y'all again pretty soon, okay? Y'all be good for mommy, okay? And Zori, take care of your brother. Zenny, take care of your sister. And y'all both take care of mommy, okay? I love y'all.
That was perfect. Oh, okay, here's a question. Can Charles press the record button one more time? I'm just gonna try to get some tight close-ups as you're hitting the button.
I think you'll actually have to press that to finalize the disc, so.
Oh, okay, then hit it one more time, for
Just
real.
so it doesn't hurt anything, that's all.
Looks like we're good. And it looks like it's starting track 2, unfortunately.
Uh-oh.
Stop it. Yeah, probably gonna have a little.
Little
I thought it
extra,
was stop.
little something extra.
Yeah.
The
Oh, I
B-side.
thought it was stop, sorry.
Yeah, I think we're gonna lower your voice on it.
Sorry.
But, yeah.
Well, you know what we're gonna have to do is tell them, I don't know if there's a way we could share that with your family, so maybe they could watch the story at home, and then maybe they'll get a little extra.
Well, we can send a note along. on
Yeah,
that.
absolutely, why not?
Okay, so, so, record done. Hit the finalize button, which is always so fun to find, finalize button. And then hit the record button, which it says is red, but it isn't since you hit it. Now, before we're listening, we're gonna change